Did I get that right? Did I get that right? Let me see. Let's see. What do we got here? Oh, we got to go here. That. Delete. Now, let me see. What do we got here? Reload. That's a different one. Let's see. Should President Trump close, shut down the border with Mexico? Hello, 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 hello. Hello, we had to restart this because the sound wasn't correct. So if you can type and you can hear the words coming out of my mouth, I would appreciate it if you could let me know if it sounds correct now. Thank you. Choo 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 choo. Is it working? Is it working? Is that what the thumbs up means? Hey, viewer, how are you today? I am looking for someone to type to me to tell me if the sound is better now, because we just started a minute ago and the sound was all garbled. So I need to know if you guys can hear me or not. So if you can type, please let me know if you can hear me. Thank you. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, are you having any fun yet today? Can you hear me? Is the sound all messed up, or is it all, because we started a minute ago and the sound was all messed up, and if it's all messed up again, I'm gonna have to restart the computer or something. I don't know. But I'm waiting to see if someone can type to me. Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? I can turn on the volume on this computer over here, but I'm afraid it will echo, 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 echo. That sounds okay. I think that sounds okay. All right. So anyways, this is a live call-in show. My name is Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Thanks very much for tuning in. I hope you find something of value here. There's well over 9,200 videos on this one YouTube page, each and every one hand-selected by myself to be worthy of your viewing time. So I am just checking in with you guys because, you know, we hear that President Trump says he is not bluffing. He is very serious about shutting down the Mexican border. He's very serious. He's not bluffing. Choo, 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 choo. No one's typing yet. No one's typing. Can you hear me? Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? Are you guys not interested in the words coming out of my mouth? Do you have the volume turned down on your computer? You know, it's a call-in show. Choo, 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 choo. So one of these days, this war is gonna end. I keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it till it's true. One of these days, this war is gonna end. La 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 la. Whoa. What just happened? Choo, 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 choo. Okay. So, as I was saying, do you guys think that Donald Trump should shut down the border with Mexico? Speaking of English? Okay, let me see here now. What is next? What is next? There's something next that I'm supposed to do here. I'm trying to do this. Can you guys hear me? No one's acknowledging that they can hear me. So I don't know if you can hear me or not. So I just keep chanting, you know, and then we dance and we dance and we dance and dance and dance and dance. I guess no one cares. No one cares. I guess that's what's happening. No one cares. Or no one getting any of my stuff again. It's like people get my stuff for like 15 minutes and they go, holy shit, look at this. And then like the rest of the month, nobody gets my stuff. Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? Does it sound okay? Speak it at sign language. All right. Nobody wants to talk to me. Nobody wants to tell me if it sounds okay. I'm asking you, does it sound okay? Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? Do you have the ability to type on your thing? On your thing. I like to type on your thing. Hey, can anyone hear the words coming out of my mouth? Does it sound okay? Okay, I guess we're just gonna sit here and wait for a caller. The telephone number is 805 Mox News. If you haven't called before, you're more than welcome to call. If you have called before, you're more than welcome to call. I'm not being choosy. I'm just waiting for someone to call. So let's make sure we can hear the ringer. The ringer works. Yeah. Hey, can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? Can anybody type in the chat? Because I can't tell the words come. Oh, wait, here's somebody. Shut it down. I'm listening. You're coming in loud and clear. Military industrial complex. We'll make sure the war never ends. Well, that's why we have to shut down, the military industrial complex. What we have to do is we have to make it. All you people who want to shut down the ability to sell guns, it's easy. All you have to do is you have to make it illegal to profit from selling weapons that kill people, that are designed to kill people. You make it illegal. And you gotta stop thinking about my kid's school and all that shit. You gotta think about the whole world, because we're fucking up the whole world by making it legal to allow people to profit from making weapons that are designed solely to kill human beings. That should be illegal. That's all there is to it. You should not be allowed to. It's not that you can't build those weapons. If it's a necessity that we have those weapons, that's fine. Build them. But no one's going to make money off of it. No one's going to make money off of dropping bombs on hospitals or UN shelters packed filled with women and children. No one should ever be allowed to make money off of that. Right? Right? So all those people who think that that's okay need to go to prison. Not the ones who think it's okay, but the ones who literally make their money off of it and know that they're making. Because I think a lot of people make their money off of it, don't even know that they're making their money off of war profiteering. It's so sad. So, yeah, fuck the military-industrial complex. They want to rape women. Let's see them for who they are, okay? They're a bunch of baby-killing rapists. That's who the military-industrial complex is. How can we allow it to continue? How can anyone allow that to continue? All those people need to be put in prison to make the world a safer place for little children. It's beyond obvious. And yet people are allowed just to go on and profiteer and profiteer and profiteer. Oh, we got to sell more weapons. Oh, look, we sold $300 billion worth of weapons to people who are bombing the shit out of the poorest people on the planet. Yay! Yay, us! Yay, us for making that possible for them. Right? Come on, you guys. I'm waiting for a phone call. It's 8:05 Mox News. You don't have to call. You don't have to. But, you know, otherwise just me sitting here talking, and I will get bored of that eventually. Could be a while. Because I find me very entertaining. But, you know, I could do something more productive than being out here being entertaining. I could go and actually disseminate information that may or may not matter in your daily life, but probably does. That's why I was doing it in the first place. I'm not, you know what? That's the whole thing about this country. This country is prepared to fight them over there. Okay. We're like, oh, we have to worry about the Russians. Hey, Russians, come on over. I got something for you. My neighbor's got something for you. We're ready. Okay. And that's the whole thing with all these people about, oh, we got to take away all the guns. You know, we're in the middle of a terrorist war, people. The terrorists are everywhere. Aren't you paying attention? That's why we have to spend $1 trillion a year. That's why we have to spy on every single person, including your 12-year-old daughter's cell phone. Because the terrorists are everywhere. So we're not fighting them over there. We're fighting them here. So you know, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. And that's what the problem is. And this is why I've been saying since 2001, September 11th, 2001, that the border needs to be secure. Because the terrorists are everywhere. The terrorists are coming to get your children, and they just left the border wide open since 2001. The terrorists since 2001. That's all we've heard. The terrorists are coming. The terrorists are coming. The terrorists are coming. And they leave the border wide open so that 3- and 4-year-old girls can walk across undetected every single day since September 11th, 2001. Since the biggest terrorist attack on America ever, the border has just been wide open with little children walking across daily. Undetected, completely undetected. And that's why I've said again and again and again that the border issue is a really big issue, because it shows how big the terrorist threat really is. If 3- and 4-year-olds can walk across the border every single day undetected, then how in the hell can the terrorists be everywhere and coming to get us? And we have to spend trillions of dollars to make sure that we don't get blown up by the terrorists again when the border's wide open. Right? Right? So, and the truth is that if we had just shut down the border on September 11th, 2001, that we probably wouldn't be facing half of the problems, half the issues that we're having now. You know, all the bad job market, because we're not getting all this crap from every country. You know, it's just like, okay, this is, you know, stop. And we have to depend on ourselves. You know, cars have to be built here, not in Mexico, because that border doesn't exist anymore. Those roads are nick. But that's not what's happening. And the terrorists are walking across every single day since 2011. Our country's filled with them. The terrorists are everywhere, man. Try and keep up. 9/11. Yeah. Okay. This is the truth. I don't know what happened on 9/11. So you say 9/11 was the inside job. You know that. I don't know what happened on 9/11. I really don't. I do know that the government is lying to me about what happened on 9/11 because I watched it. We all watched it again and again, and we know that the government's lying about it. Okay, so I don't know what happened, but I do know the government's lying about it. And I know that every single day since then, I've been told the terrorists are coming to get our children. The terrorists, the terrorists, the terrorists, the terrorists, right? And meanwhile, the southern border has been completely wide open, apparently. Anyone, any MS-13 gang member can walk across every single day undetected, right? So, I mean, that's what Donald Trump keeps telling us. So, and this is since, and this how many years? This is 18 years since September 11th, 2001, in which every day we keep being told, the terrorists are coming to get your children. The terrorists are coming to get your children. Come on, we have to spend more money, more money. We got to keep the terrorists out. And it's not, I mean, how big a threat can the terrorist threat really be, right? And that's why they're saying it's an inside job. Well, that's because I believe that the government is the biggest threat. I've told you this again and again, and you guys know it too. That's why you say, oh, it's an inside job. Well, I don't know exactly what inside job means. I mean, I that's pretty vague, so but what I know is ever since that day, hi, Dwayne, ever since that day, it's been, terrorists are coming to get us. Terrorists are coming to get your kids. We have to spend trillions and trillions of dollars defending against a terrorist. We have to go kill 1 million innocent Iraqis, which nobody's talking about holding anybody accountable for, right? I mean, don't you think somebody should be held accountable for 1 million innocent Iraqis being murdered in your name with your tax dollars? Don't you think, based on lies, don't you think someone should be held accountable for that? Wouldn't you want someone held accountable for that? I know I do. I want a whole bunch of people held accountable for that. All the top to start with. And then we'll figure out who else needs to go to prison forever for murdering 1 million innocent Iraqis. And that was because the terrorists. And you guys know this. And this is all I'm saying is, it's, how big a threat can it be? And why has the border, if it is such a big threat that we have to spend trillions and trillions of dollars defending on, why has nothing been done about the border until now? Right? This is what I'm saying. It doesn't make any sense. The terrorist threat can't be that big a deal. And now I'll have to tell you that I believe there is a large event on the way that will affect the entire planet, and that it's probably going to get blamed on Iran because they're the terrorist. We all know Iran is a terrorist. The terrorist, just like Iraq was the terrorist. Terrorist. And it's going to affect everyone. And this is why I keep saying we have to stop the war profiteers, because if we take the profit out of war, it will end. If you say, okay, you can make weapons, but you can't make a single cent doing it, then what is the incentive to make weapons? The incentive is we have to have these weapons to defend ourselves. We're in a shitload of trouble, and we have to have these weapons. On the other hand, if you're making a profit off of it, then terrorists. They're coming for your children. Are you not listening? Do you speak English? Can you hear the words coming out of my mouth? but the border's been left wide open. Well, I brought this up again, and long before most of you people knew who Donald Trump was. I brought this up again and again and again. How big a threat can the terrorist threat be if the border is wide fucking open and little children walk across it every single day undetected? And MS-13 gang members, apparently. 18 years later, after the biggest terrorist event in our fucking history, is still wide open. We're still having a debate about the border. I could be wrong. So, anyways, it's a call-in show. If anybody wants to call in, you just want to hear me keep saying terrorist, 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 terror. The terrorists are coming for your. They're everywhere. The terrorists are everywhere. Don't you know? That's why we have to spy on your 12-year-old daughter's phone, because the terrorists are everywhere. They could be on her phone. She could be contacting one of them right now. Don't you know? It's the terror. Aren't you? Bleach, are you new today? What is this? It's the terrorist. It's the terrorist. The terrorist. The border is wide open. The border, they're just gang members are just the MS-13, the word, they cut people and let them bleed to death. And the border is just wide open. And it's been that way since 2001. Just as wide open. Little children walk across the border every single day, completely undetected, since September 11th, 2001, when we had the biggest terrorist event that ever happened in the history of the United States, and the border is still wide fucking open. Why? Why? Okay? Here, look. Look. This is the fucking phone number. 805-669-6397. Don't make me start singing. 805. Let's see. What happens if I type here? 805 669 6397. 5-669-6397. It worked. Rowdy Roddy Piper. They Live. That is such a good movie. If you have not seen that movie, it's brilliant. John Carpenter's best work, in my own personal opinion. Far better than Escape from New York, although I love that movie too. Let's see. So what do you think? Should the border be shut down? I mean, the terrorists are coming to get your children, right? The MS-13 gang members are bringing all the fentanyl your kids can snort, right? And the border's just wide open. Apparently, they just walk across daily undetected, day after day after day. And no one seems to care. The Score, is that John Carpenter? So I am okay. So I went to go see Blue Oyster Cult on Saturday night. My roommate had 2 tickets, and his girlfriend didn't want to go. So I went to go see Blue Oyster Cult, and I had the weirdest thing happen. Right, we're sitting there, and I'm pretty bouncy, move around kind of guy, and it's pretty tight seating for VIP seating. It's pretty fucking like narrow shoulder to shoulder shit. So, anyways, we're watching the the Blue Oyster Cult, right? And they're tearing it up. Those guys are great guitarists, amazing guitarists, right? We're watching the Blue Oyster Cult, and about 3 songs in or 4 songs in, the usher comes over, and they're all, oh, let me see your tickets. Ticket. And they're like, you know, oh, you belong in that seat over there. And I'm like, okay. And I scoot over, you know, one seat, and I had my roommate scoot over one seat, and I scooted over one seat, and this big guy sits down next to me, right? It's like big, you know, like football kind of guy, you know, crew cut, you know, police haircut, you know, whatever you call it. And and my roommate leans over and he says, "Hey man, sorry, we didn't know, you know." And there's like, it's like, whatever, you know. And then he sits down, and he just sat there the whole time, like I'm every song, you know. I'm like, woo, you know, right on, and he just sits there. He just sits there as stiff as can be the entire time. I'm bouncing all over the place, you know. Blue Oyster Cult. Anyways, so we're watching the show, and he's just sitting there, just like frozen solid. And then you you know, you hear this don 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 don, you know, and they start to play Godzilla, you know. Oh no, there goes Tokyo, go go Godzilla. And he just goes crazy, man. He stands up and he's like, woo, woo, like just screaming and applauding, like, holy shit. And as soon as the song was over, he left. So he paid for VIP seating. And you know what else is? The 4 seats right next to me, when I was sitting there, and he sat down next to me and just sat there stiff as a board. The 4 seats next to me were wide open. If he could have scooted over one seat, it wouldn't have been a big deal. And just sat right next to me stiff as a board the whole time. And then as soon as, oh no, there goes Tokyo, go go Godzilla, he was like, woo! I was like, wow. So that happened. %, should be closed. Southern California says the border should be closed 100%. Well, anybody want to call and talk about it? I have this like phone number. It's 805 Mox News. You know, I got it special so we could do this. 805 Mox News. I got that. Got the 80 so that we could do this. We could have call-in shows so that you guys could call. We could have discussions about this without me having to read what it is that you're saying. Not that I don't want to read what you're saying, just I'm kind of caught up in what I'm saying. And if I'm listening and interacting with you, it's different. So if you want to call, it's 805-669-6397. Is anybody trying to call? Are you trying to call? I have. See, I have. Ooh, that should be louder. I have dial tone. No one's calling. So it's fine. I guess you got my Blue Oyster Cult story. I made my point about terrorists, and the wide open southern border since 2001, you know, and nobody wants to have a discussion on the phone. So, go, go, Godzilla. Yeah. It was pretty good. It was a pretty good show. It was like my roommate's working. He just works like 16 hours a day. And he's on the computer. And all of a sudden, and he listens to YouTube. He listens to music on YouTube in the background. And all of a sudden, a Blue Oyster Cult song comes up. And he's like, holy shit, it's Blue Oyster Cult tonight. We got to go. Hello, caller. Hello, caller. That's weird. Can you hear me, caller? They hung up. I don't know. Maybe the phone is fucking up. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Did I mention the telephone number? 805 Mox News. So, yeah. So he's like working. He works 16 hours a day. It's Saturday, like 8 o'clock at night, and he's working on his computer. And, and a Blue Oyster Cult song comes up on the mix of music that he's listening to. He's like, holy shit, it's Blue Oyster Cult. We got to get going now. We're going to miss it. Like, okay. I just made a burrito. Let me eat. So, oh, that's awesome, Dwayne. I'm super glad to hear that, bro. I hope that you and Jane are able to enjoy the newfound freedom in Ontario. It's about time, don't you think? It's only been like a year now, right? Well, I guess, how long has it been? It's been 7-8 months now. So they finally got a store open. They probably don't have weed in it. That's what usually happens. The store is open and there's no supply because they haven't let them catch up. They haven't let them grow enough to stock the shelves. It'll catch up. It'll get good. Don't worry, Dwayne. Prices are going to come way down. I see 8s around here for like, I see stuff, it's like $3 a gram for everything around here. Not everything. There's some stuff I see. I see some stuff that's like 81% THC. I'm just like, what? That's not possible. Flowers can't be 81% THC. Speaking of which, I'm going to start a garden in the next few days. We'll be doing like gardening with Mox or Mox Farm, gardening with Mox Farm, something like that. Mox Farms probably. And I have this one strain, the seeds for this one strain called cream cheese, and it's a high CBD strain, right? It's 19% CBD, which is pretty good, but it's also 21% THC, which is amazing. I'm gonna make some killer brownies out of that. We're going to do an outside garden for the first couple months of the summer because we have these 90-day wonders and the seeds, which is you pop the seed 90 days from when you pop the seed, the flowers are done 90 days later. Doesn't matter, sunshine, rain, whatever, they're done. So we're going to pop those seeds and we're going to garden outside, but we're going to start the garden in our beautiful Gorilla Grow tent. Thanks to the beautiful people at Gorilla Grow Tents for supplying the Gorilla Grow Tent. And it should be a lot of fun. Oh, excellent. Yeah, excellent. Overstock stores in Toronto. Everybody got that? Toronto is the new vacation destination in Canada. Overstock stores. So the price will be coming down real soon then. Well, we had the one person call, and that didn't work out so well. I am pretty much done here. I don't want to keep yelling terrorist, terrorist, terrorist. And I have gardening stuff to get ready. So, and really the thing is, I could be more effective. Part of the reason I don't want to, that I haven't done this for the last 15 years when I've been doing Mox News is because I don't want to come out here and scream my opinions at you like Sean Hannity does, or Don Lemon does, or, or Rachel Maddow does. But I'm a person of very strong opinions. And this is why, and the thing is like, the reason that I want to tell you them, even though I don't want to be one of these talking heads people who like, if you don't agree with what they say, you're a moron or a sheep or asleep. I don't want to be that person, idiot, left-wing nut job or right-wing nut job. I don't want to be that person who, again, I'm very strong opinions, but I have these ideas and thoughts and opinions, like about the border, like about the fact that since 2001, the border has been wide open. And again, I'm not talking about that necessarily because of the overflow of the influx of immigrants so much as I'm talking about it because of the terrorists. The terrorists, the terrorists. Well, we've spent trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars supposedly protecting ourselves from. Meanwhile, the southern border, little children walk across every day, and it's been that way since the biggest terrorist attack in our history, and they walk across completely undetected, and it's almost like no one's done anything, you know. So because it's still happening. And if it's the terrorist, you know, I'm pretty sure that $1 trillion would have built a real fancy, you know, security system along the border. I'm not saying that we need a wall. I'm saying security. We need security. We need to know every single person who comes across that border. And whatever, you know, whatever it is. I mean, you know, whether they're here legally, illegal, I just want to know who they are, you know. Because if they're criminals, then you should arrest them. Absolutely. Put them in prison. Don't let them spread their disease here, their crime. Not that I'm saying that that's who they are, but according to what we've been told. And it's just this thing about the terrorists. It's not about the immigrants. It's about the terrorists. Okay, the terrorists, the terrorists. We have to spy on your daughter's your 12-year-old daughter's cell phone. Every text message, every picture she takes, we have to spy on it because of the terrorist. But we'll just leave the border wide open for 20 years. You know, I don't know who that makes any sense to. It makes no sense to me. Again, the rich people. Hello, caller. Can you hear me, caller? I think there must be a problem with the phone. Or people are just checking to see if the phone is actually working. I don't know. At least I know it's ringing. So anyways, thanks for calling. And my name's Mike, and thanks for tuning in. This is my YouTube page. And it's just, I think that I see things from a little different perspective. You know, I'm not worried about the invading caravans of immigrants. You know, this is something that Donald Trump is correct, should have been taken care of long ago, not because of the immigrants, but because of the terrorists. If there is an actual terrorist threat, which apparently there is not, because the border has been wide open for anyone to walk across. This is all I'm saying. Poo, 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 poo. All right, so I'm going to go do some gardening, and I'll get back to you real soon, okay? So my name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. Stay cool. One of these days, this war is going to end, and it would be awesome if Mox News is there to celebrate that day with you, okay? Some of my friends are saying that I should do a live show, like multiple live shows a day. Like come on at 6 o'clock and at 10 o'clock and maybe in the afternoon or noon or in the morning or whatever. So I'm thinking about doing multiple call-in shows to see if that works better. I don't know. Clearly this one didn't work very well. Okay. Well, I don't know what you want from me. No one's calling. It's a call-in show. Okay. No one's calling and talking to me. If we don't have that interaction, then it's just me talking to you. And again, I've tried to avoid being this talking head who's telling you all the time. Okay, caller, what's going on? How are you today?
Is this really Mox of MoxNews.com, or is this is Doug calling?
Hey, Doug. Yeah, this is Mox. How are you? My name is Mike.
Hey, buddy. Oh, Mike. Okay. Is this the Mike whom I am staring at his lovely face now with the beard?
I am the creator. I am the creator of Mox News.
Right on. I've been subscribed to years. Probably 09. Many a times I sat and used you as a barometer for how I looked out at the world and bounced my beliefs and odd concepts off yours. I remember back in during the days of the Occupy Wall Street and the Ron Paul campaign, and oh my gosh, we had some fun back then.
Yeah, didn't we? We really rocked the pillars of heaven, man.
You did. You were you know, it's odd. I don't have that I don't use that YouTube channel anymore, but I often would communicate with you as sailfished.
Cool.
ED past tense. And I go back to that old channel once in a while, and I looked at all the cool videos that I saved, and they've almost all been deleted.
Yeah.
And we live in such a remarkable time right now, buddy, with the what's happening out there with the censorship. They are getting so clever and so good at it.
It's beyond clever. It's just dirty. It's, you know, low down, no good. Censorship. I mean, that's all there is to it, and that's just against what we're supposed to stand for. You know. So
if we were to lose our ability to speak forthrightly and as we feel led by our, you know, what's going on in our lives, you know, we're doomed. When you got to look at your neighbor and you know, hedge all your words and walk around you might as well just bag it right there, because you're just a slave.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people seem pretty good with that as long as they get a decent slave wage, you know.
Well, yeah. So I saw a saying that the 1% have 4% on their side, but the 5% of us awake are trying to wake up the other 90%. But we have stiff competition. Yes. 90% of the people are just asleep, and they're just. It's sad to say. I don't know. That's almost cliche to say that. I'd like to think. You know, my daughter is going to graduate from college here in May, and her little
congratulations.
Yeah, she's a good girl, and her little crew, they're pretty awake. She's turned me on to a few of the current things going on YouTube and the little discussions, contentions, and
right on.
She's turned into a big Roseanne Barr fan.
Huh.
All people. I mean, Roseanne's been quite the character lately. She's on fire sometimes.
Roseanne's always been quite a character, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how I don't even have a specific recollection if you were in Seattle or Portland.
I'm in Seattle.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds right. Hey, quick question. I recall back, it was probably in the winter of 16 or early 17, and there was a protest at the University of Washington. And I can't remember who was going to speak. Perhaps it was Milo Yiannopoulos, or I don't correct, but there was a fellow that was shot in the crowd, and then it dropped off the radar screen. Do you recollect that, or was there any follow up on that?
Yeah, what was going on during that? That was like right after the election, I believe. It was.
Yes, it was when. Yeah, it was fresh on.
Yeah,
when there was all the contention at UC Berkeley and the free speech movement was really the lines were getting delineated.
Yeah, it's so weird how people want to fight to stop speech. You know, I don't understand what they're thinking when they're thinking that speech needs to be shut down. You know,
they're not thinking, brother. Hey, but you know, we're just going to keep on doing it until we can't. And I don't know.
That's what I keep saying.
Dog. I'm over in Montana, so
right on. That sounds pretty good.
I'm here visiting I'm visiting here in Oregon for a while, so that's why I got this burner phone. But hey, I so much in my heart support your gig that you've been doing, and may you have many interesting and hey, oh gosh, can I don't want to take up a bunch of your time, but one thing that has really been driving me crazy, and did you follow this Christchurch thing at all and have an opinion on it, or was that something that was on your radar screen at all?
No, honestly, I don't like to look too deep into those things. I have to cover enough of it as it is, and if I start looking too deep into it, it gets really, a lot of that stuff gets really morbid. And
yeah, you can, you don't want to stare into it too much. I totally concur, and that's why I broached it the way. And I'm actually of the same mind. There's just sometimes there's those little things that take. That just grab hold of your mind. You can't unwrestle. You can't get it out, especially when it's just like 3 little numbers and 3 little letters that are just being viciously censored on the internet. And it's I mean, I guess that's why I see the veracity, and it wouldn't be so crazy to scrub these 3 letters and these 3 words from the internet if there wasn't something to it. That's the testimony I see that concerns me. And I'm without any reference, I'm going to say the 3 letters and the 3 words that durst not be spoke on the internet. And they're FQH875.
okay.
And that's, man, talk about a cool mystery if somebody wants to chase that down.
Well,
all right,
they got it out there. All right. Well, thanks a lot for calling, man. I appreciate it. Nice to hear from you.
Right. Okay, bye-bye.
Okay, so hey, we actually got a caller on the live call-in show. That was pretty cool, huh? Almost like the first time that ever happened. Anyways, so I hope you all wrote that down. As a little Easter egg, you'll have to go back and find it again. Better write the time down. All right, I'm coming. I pressed 1. Hello, caller. How are you today?
Michael Knight, how are you? It's Dwayne.
Hey, Dwayne. Nice to hear from you, bro.
Yeah, for sure. It's great to see you on tonight.
I've been having horrible allergies. The trees are just dumping pollen everywhere. I have to take a towel and wipe the dog down after the walk on a beautiful sunny day because he's just covered in pollen by the time we get home.
Is it bugging you?
It's horrible. I can't, my eyes get all like, and I can't stop sneezing.
Have you ever tried eucalyptus oil for that?
No, I've never tried eucalyptus oil. It's been something I dealt with my whole life, so I haven't ever tried eucalyptus oil though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it works. It works. It cleans your...
You put it in your nose or?
Out instantly. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Oh, you can just take it, put it on your hands.
Yeah.
Rub it in your hands and just breathe,
Just smell it.
Cup your nose with your hands and just breathe in and talk.
Right on. I will have to find some of that.
Yeah, for sure. And like I just had a question about, I put in a link in the chat to CBC's kind of announcement that pot stores are open in Ontario now. I kind of wanted to know, like when you post stuff, like say from Fox News, and I know you've done CBC stuff before, how do you get away without getting a copyright infringement? Like, is it just that you're claiming it's fair use so that they can...
It is fair use.
Okay, so you can just put that clip up on Fox News if you want to, right?
Yeah, it is fair use. I mean, it's completely legal what I'm doing. There is nothing illegal about what I'm doing. It's all of this is published by news sites for the public, to inform the public. Okay, all I'm doing is helping disseminate certain bits of that information that they're putting out.
Yeah, well, there you go. There's CBC announcing, because I guess it was yesterday.
Yeah,
that they actually had first brick and mortar stores officially open.
Right on.
There's supposed to be 25 of them.
Nice.
I think only 9 of them actually have the proper paperwork, because of course it's a big red tape thing, right?
Yeah, there's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Oh yeah, for sure. But no matter what, there's at least the one in Toronto that opened, and they said that they've got a huge supply and they're not going to be running out.
That's great. Gotta love hearing that.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I just knew you'd really love this stuff. So you know, I don't know if you want to put up that clip. It's CBC. Like they're pretty wicked people up here in Canada. Like they're worse than CNN.
Was that on the national last night or?
No, but it might have been on the national too. That's just the one clip they had on their YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
About it, because the lineups for this one store, I forget what they called it, Honey Pot or something like that in Toronto.
That's a funny name.
Huge. There's like 2,000 people lined up down the street at 9 o'clock in the morning when they opened. So
wow, nice.
Yeah.
But people have been waiting quite a while for that to happen now. It's been like 8 months since they legalized, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and like in Ontario, you know, we have this thing where all liquor is controlled by a crown corporation, like the Ontario government. There's something called the LCBO.
Yeah.
They have all these stores only sell liquor, right? They were going to do it, sell the pot that way.
Yeah.
But and I had this argument with a friend of mine, right? Because you know, like, okay, should the government be in control of this? And why not just sell it the way they sell alcohol, right? In Ontario? He's like, no, man, this is private business. Let these people, you know, run their own business. And he's kind of right, you know.
I want to see. You know what? I want to see it so that people are selling it at the farmers market, dude. That's what I want to see. That's when I will be absolutely 100%. I will say cannabis is now legal because there's people growing it at home and selling it at the farmers market. That's a beautiful thing right there.
Well, and I looked into it deeper. They had 13,000 applications across Ontario.
Wow.
For the first 25 stores.
Wow.
For the first 25 stores. And they had to make something like a $15,000 investment with all the red tape around it as well.
Yeah.
You had to jump through hoops. And yes, there was 13,000 applications for 25 stores. Now, this is the first block of 25 stores, according to the Ontario government, that they're going to be doing.
Right now, well, I'm going to start my garden this week, so you got to tune in for that for sure.
Yeah, and I live on 100 acres. You got
yeah, dude, there's some really great genetics in Canada. I mean, you can get all kinds of this. You should find out if anybody sells clones. Clones are awesome.
Oh, I did that years ago. Yeah, me and a buddy Chris and me grew some clones.
Because if everybody's up there, you know, because anybody can grow. I guess, I don't know, is Ontario one of the places where they don't let you grow? Because like a couple places they don't let you grow, huh?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think you can grow some, but I think it has to be under a certain amount.
So anybody over 18, anybody 18 or over can have 4 plants. But there's certain areas that they're saying, no, we're not going to let people grow at the moment. The Supreme Court will be changing that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, though, that we can grow a lot more than that.
Oh, awesome.
In Ontario. I'm not sure where else. Like, it'd be nice to get, you know, personally, I used to smoke a lot of BC skunk, and I used to love that stuff.
Yeah, I love the skunk.
The better, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it got to the point where I drive by a dead skunk on the road, and I'd be like, wow.
I know. I'm gonna grow like I'm gonna grow, I think 12 or 14 different strains. So I'm hoping at least one of them is extra skunky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, skunky is better, and you know, more crystals better too.
There you go.
That brings me a long time ago, man. Like
the first season's gonna be like, the first season's gonna be all 90-day wonders. They're all gonna be start the seeds and they'll be finished within 90 days. Some of them are supposed to finish in 60 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. No. Me and this guy Chris, we used to grow stuff out in the field.
Yeah.
And we actually, and it was pretty good. I think he ripped me off, but I wasn't in it for the money anyway. But,
it is what it is.
I just wanted to call it a show. I kind of think with the terrorists coming across, look, if there's no way to vet the people coming across the Mexican border, though, like the U.S.-Mexico border, there's no way to vet them properly, how are you not going to be able to, like, I don't know. Is it all fear porn where,
Yep.
you know, there could be some Somali crazy person that you don't even notice go through there. So,
but why haven't they done it in the last 18 years?
What, a big terrorist attack in the United States?
Why hasn't, if the terrorist threat is so great, why hasn't anybody walked across that border and done something in the last 18 years?
I think they're all yellow bellies anyway. Like, really.
Well, then the terrorist threat isn't that great. Yeah. They're just a bunch of they're just a bunch of wind. They're just a bunch of wind. They're just talk, and that's it. So that means the terrorist threat isn't that great. And basically we're just spending trillions of dollars on a fucking ghost that doesn't exist.
Well, yeah, and Bin Laden wasn't even in Afghanistan. Like 9 of the 11 hijackers were Saudis. So we never went to war with Saudi Arabia. You know,
no, we just sold them. We just sold them $400 billion worth of weapons, which they passed to ISIS apparently.
Yeah.
So
I don't know. I think Israel and Saudi Arabia seem to be untouchable over there.
You know, it's up to the people. The people have to decide what kind of planet they want to live on. And, you know, I'm not long for this planet. I'm not overly concerned, but I am doing my best to make sure they know it's their choice and that a choice should be made. If they don't get together and make one for themselves, the choice will be made for them. And that would be unfortunate.
Oh, yeah, but I think this deep state though wants the southern border open for sure. They want that.
If there is such a thing, they certainly have made it clear that that's the way it's going to be for the last 18 years at least. That's what I keep talking about.
Like even Chris Cuomo, him and Don Lemon are actually there's a clip on CNN on YouTube where they're actually starting to realize that, hey, this is an emergency. I guess Chris Cuomo is down at the border and he's talking to a bunch of border agents. And I was surprised to see what he said on Don Lemon's show. Like, it really sounds like, now, I don't think that Chris Cuomo is a retard like Don Lemon and Anderson Cooper and all those guys. I think Chris Cuomo actually has a bit of intelligence with him.
Yeah.
Same with Van Jones. That's my opinion. You know, I think they're actually conservatives. They're just making their money pouring themselves out to CNN, you know?
Well, it's entirely possible. I don't think Van Jones is necessarily conservative, but he likes to play the part, you know? But
he's pretty smart.
Yeah, no, he's a smart guy. I mean,
he's pretty smart.
He's a smart guy. He's good, and he actually seems to be working the right direction a lot of the time. I like the prison reform stuff that he keeps, you know, being involved in. I think that's really important.
Yeah, for sure. You shouldn't be going to prison for, 5 grams of weed.
You shouldn't. The people have just been over criminalized, and it's not just marijuana. It's all kinds of stuff, and it's just gotta, I mean, it's just. You make them into criminals, okay? They're good people, and you make them into criminals, and that's a really fucked up government to have,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
Mike,
thanks.
Great call.
Yeah, thanks so much for calling, Dwayne. It's good to hear from you. Tell Jane I said hi.
I will, and Mike, bless you.
Okay.
Have a great night.
Thanks a bunch, brah.
Yep.
It's always good to hear from Dwayne.
Which one to take this call?
I'm pressing one. Hello, caller. How are you today?
Hey, Mike.
Hello.
Hey, Michael. What's up?
It's today is the day, man. What's up with you?
Hey, I'm good. This is Blake.
Hey, Blake. It's nice to hear from you.
Yeah. Your roomie there pinged me and said you were on, and I've been missing all of your live shows, so I figured I'd give you a call. It's
nice to hear from you. I saw pictures of you at the university with your beautiful dog the other day.
Oh yeah. He's loving it.
He looked very happy.
Yeah. So yeah, I've been catching some of these usually after the fact, but by the way, man, thanks for the invite to dinner on Christmas. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really nice. I love hanging out with you guys. You guys are
Yeah.
we should go together. We should go to the dog park one day soon. That would be awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a question. Do you follow Washington state politics very closely?
A little bit.
Okay. Have you heard of this SB 5782?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so apparently, I don't know. I just found this. I found this pretty interesting because it kind of goes back to the whole gun rights thing. And what this bill concerns is spring blade knives.
Okay.
So in Washington State, pretty much any knife is legal to carry and use, except for what they call a spring blade knife, which is basically a switchblade. So Washington State has multiple very high-profile manufacturers of spring blade knives.
Is that right? I did not know that.
Yeah, SOG Knives and V Knives is another company. So they actually manufacture them in the state, but they're not allowed to sell them here.
Huh? Do they make they make OTF ones out the front?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's an OTF knife.
Ooh, I want one. I don't have an OTF knife.
Yeah. I mean, I've never really been into knives very much, but I picked up a couple of pocket knives a while ago, and they're pretty nice. And I mean, to be honest, like an out the front knife isn't any more dangerous than a folding pocket knife. I mean, a knife is a knife.
Yeah. If you're going to cut yourself with it, you're probably going to cut yourself with it. This one,
yeah, for sure.
This one, the tip is so pointy, man. I mean, it is so pointy. It just goes through skin like butter. I got to be real careful with it. Every once in a while, it falls off the desk. I'm worried about it going through my foot.
Oh crap! Oh, that thing looks badass. Oh man, is that a folding knife or?
Yeah, it's push button switchblade.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it's really interesting because Washington State is, right now they're very, very, very anti-gun, and I'll bring that up. But there was a lot of mania and hysteria around switchblade knives, like back in the 50s, because of those like greaser gang movies, right? And they always use these switchblade knives. Those Italian stiletto knives.
When I was in high school, we had ones that were combs, like get your switchblade out, and it was actually a comb. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually had one of those too. Those things. But it was kind of interesting though to me because this was introduced. I've been following it through. It went through the rules committee, and I don't have it right in front of me, but it passed the rules committee in the Senate, and it passed the Senate 46-1, which I'm actually really surprised by. It's in the House right now, and it's It's actually scheduled for an executive session this Monday. In fact, thankfully, it looks like it moved along. So if anybody's watching, tell your representatives that you live in Washington State, support SB 5782. I think so. New York City has had a lot of issues,
and that's going to legalize the spring-loaded knives.
Yeah, I can't remember what I'm not a lawyer, but I think my understanding was that they were legal, but you cannot bring them. You can't carry them outside.
Okay.
Yeah, you can't conceal carry them or something like that. There are certain kind of knives. But anyways, back to like the overcriminalization part. I mean, New York City used switchblade and spring blade knife laws to criminalize mostly, minority groups for a very long time.
Yeah.
And
you remember Freddie Gray in Buffalo? I think it was Buffalo, or it might have been Philadelphia. I think it was Buffalo. See, Buffalo, Baltimore. Freddie Gray in Baltimore. They picked him up off the street because he had a spring-loaded knife. That was the reason they said they arrested him, and then they put him in the back of a fucking paddy wagon and gave him the Baltimore rough ride, and he wound up dead by the time he got to fucking jail.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That's right.
Okay, yeah.
That was all about a spring-loaded knife, supposedly.
Well, even in New York City, and I don't know if this is the case in Washington State, but they also have laws against gravity knives. So what a gravity knife is that any knife that can open under the weight of gravity or with like a flick of your wrist.
So is that like a butterfly knife or something?
No, I don't think that's considered like it's basically a folding knife, but you can flick it open if you flick it really hard.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, so like there was another guy who got arrested in New York City who had a normal standard pocket, like folding knife.
Yeah. And
the cop was like a big muscle head, and he was actually able to flick it open with, because he's just really strong.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I mean, these knife laws are ridiculous. There's actually been about 12 states in the past couple of years that have gone back and wrote these laws out of the books, which I support. I mean, there's a lot of people who like carry pocket knives for protection or for work or whatever, but
a lot of people carry it for work and for sports. A lot of fishermen and stuff like that. A knife is just a basic tool that any man would carry. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not something unusual.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm actually really happy to see that this is, and of course, there are big business interests behind it, pushing it, but these are mostly, local companies that have, hundreds of employees that work here within the state of Washington. So,
and they're trying to shut down, and they're trying to shut down the companies.
No. I mean, the legislature is the reason they passed it to such an overwhelming majority is because these big, knife companies in the state of Washington are lobbying these guys.
Oh, good. Good, yeah.
So this is actually a case of business doing good, I think.
Yeah, great.
They're serving their own interests, but also, anyways, there were also a bunch of other, I had to count. I think there were like 27 gun laws on the books for the state of Washington for this legislative session. We made enough noise and we beat down their walls enough that they actually dropped. The biggest one, I think, was the magazine ban bill. They wanted to restrict any magazine that was over 10 rounds in Washington State. That died. I think it died in committee. There was another one where they wanted to impose all these crazy new restrictions on like concealed carries and stuff like that, which is good. I'm generally supportive of gun rights, but did you hear about the magazine ban in California getting thrown out?
No, I didn't hear that. Did that just happen?
Oh my God, dude! It's a huge deal right now. So, in the year 2000, I believe the legislature in California passed a magazine ban bill. Any magazine over 10 rounds is now banned. You cannot loan or give or buy or transfer.
You can own them, but you can't sell them.
You can. They always start. This is how they always.
Yeah, right.
Much every state that institutes these things.
Slippery slope.
You can't give away, buy, or whatever.
Yeah.
You can keep what you have.
Yeah.
You cannot you cannot give it away or whatever. And then so in 2017, the California voters came back and said, "Oh, by the way, those magazines that you happen to have, you got to get rid of those now."
Yeah.
So that actually spurred a lawsuit against the state of California to say, like, we can't, like, here's the thing, man. whether you support this stuff or not, I don't like the idea that a group of people can vote away the rights of another group of people.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a super extreme example, but I mean, a majority of people supported slavery at one time. It wasn't right. It's just, I don't think you should be allowed to do that. Anyways, federal judge on Friday afternoon at like 3 p.m. came out and said that the magazine ban bill in California is completely null and void. It cannot be enforced. And by the way, Attorney General of California, you cannot enforce this. And notice to all law enforcement, no enforcement.
Wow, that is good news, man.
Yeah, I mean, that just opened the freaking floodgates, man. Like, so I've been like poking around online and looking at what people in California are doing. I mean, they are just, they're panic buying while they can. It's pretty insane. I mean, my stance on gun rights is like, look, I don't consider myself a gun nut, but like when you really get down to it, and when you talk to a normal person, you tell them this, that they'll probably think you're crazy. But like, if you really analyze the reason that we have these tools at our disposal, is so that we can fight a tyrannical government. It's not for hunting. It's not for like, sporting or fun. At the end of the day, it's, so that you can overthrow a tyrannical government if it ever came to that. And, people will say, well, you could never fight the U.S. military. But it's not about that. It's more of a deterrent more than anything. Sure, the military, if the government wanted to come and like kick your fucking door in and burn your house down and kill your whole family, I'm sure they could do that. But it's more of a deterrent at the end of the day. So like my stance on it is, I'm kind of an absolutist on it. I'm not against like, background checks at, sensible things, what I call common sense, not what those, what other people call that. But anyways, yeah, that was,
that's great news, man. I'm glad you shared that with me. I think a lot of people will be happy to hear about that. And I agree with you. I see it a little bit differently, not so much as to protect from a tyrannical government so much as although I believe you're correct. It's more just to say, first, you have the right, the First Amendment, you have the right to say what you want to say. And second, no one will ever take that right from you unless you want them to. It's like when Barack Obama used to say, no one's coming to take your guns. I kept thinking, the reason no one's coming to take your guns is because we have guns. If we didn't have guns, they would take the guns, they take the First Amendment, they've already taken the Fourth Amendment. So
yeah, I mean, those poor souls, and the whole thing that happened in New Zealand. I mean, that whole situation is just awful. But
the thing about that is what really bothers me is that they have one of these horrific situations where a bunch of people get shot up, and then we have to base all these new laws on the actions of a crazy person. That's not what you base laws on. You don't base laws on the action of a crazy person. You base laws on logic. This is what we need to make happen that's best for everyone, as opposed we have to make sure this crazy person, this little segment of which I wish they would focus on the crazy people, but they don't. They focus, they make the law on everyone instead of crazy people. We need to deal with crazy people. And if we were dealing with crazy people, a lot of this gun shooting stuff would go away. But there's no mental health stuff at all.
Yeah, no, there needs to be better mental health components to this whole debate. And gun owners actually, if there is something that a lot of hardcore, diehard gun owners would support, would be access to mental health and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely. We hear it again and again. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, these so-called assault weapons, they are capable of, a lot of destruction. They're dangerous instruments. I mean, they're really fun, but at the same time, I mean, they're deadly weapons. But if you looked at it objectively and you said, okay, what's causing the most harm? Let's think about it in a harm reduction sense. In Washington State, as an example, only a single person last year died of a rifle, period, in the whole state.
Huh.
How many people died from like pistols? I mean, it was in the hundreds, right? So if you're pissed off about like gun violence in general, don't go after, you know, the thing that's causing the least amount of harm. That, you know, the rifles just get more exposure in the media, and you cover the media, you talk about it, you consume this stuff all the time. You know, they're just fear factories, right? At the end of the day,
That seems to be their main job, is to spread fear. That's why I keep saying the whole show I've been terrorist. You know, that's you know, we're supposed to be afraid. The terrorists are coming. You know, you have to let us fucking look at your 12-year-old daughter's phone because of terrorists.
oh my God, man, jeez. So what did you think about the whole Russiagate? You know, Donald, you know, the Mueller report coming out and basically him saying, you know, no collusion, but you know, maybe there's some obstruction there. I haven't seen anything on that from you yet.
Well, the report hasn't come out, so there's really nothing to show about it yet, you know, except for speculation. And I hate fucking speculation. I hate them saying, oh, no, you know, Iran could have a nuclear weapon in 6 months. I've been hearing that shit for 10 fucking years. Okay. You know, I hate, you know, it could fucking rain $100 bills tomorrow, but I'm not going to lay a bet on it, you know?
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, my understanding is that the report was released to a few select people, and then they just distilled it into like a 4-page, you know, top line summary, essentially, right? I mean,
there's been a summary released of the report. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I saw that.
It's just
I saw that thing get released, and
it just, the whole thing bugs the fuck out of me. Okay, you know what? If you have crimes, if Donald Trump has committed crimes, which I'm sure he has, then he should be treated like any other person. But George W. Bush is responsible for 1 million dead Iraqis. Okay, based on lies. I want something done about that. That actually matters to all of us, and you don't hear a fucking word about it. You know, we got to hear how Donald Trump, you know, they just can't ever shut up about Donald Trump in the fucking news. So yeah, no, I'm not posting speculative stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because, I mean, so he's been a sleazy New York, you know, real estate guy his whole life, his whole adult life. And so I'm sure I guarantee you he did some shady stuff in the past, right?
Absolutely.
But he's probably the biggest war president I've had in my lifetime at the same time. So
I really hope that's true.
The media hates it.
I really hope that's true. I mean, it seems like it might be true, but at the same time, you know, then he goes and, you know, he's like, you know, Israel can't do any wrong. We got to make sure Netanyahu gets reelected. We got to give Saudi Arabia $400 billion in weapons. You know, I mean, that's not exactly anti-war, really, you know.
I haven't been hearing anything about like the drone program lately, because I know Obama was, you know, he was droning everybody.
I agree with that. I haven't heard anything about it, except for I've been reading a little bit, and what I've been reading is that he's doing like twice as many drone strikes as Barack Obama already, and Barack Obama did like 10 times as many drone strikes as George W. Bush. So I don't know if it's true. I don't know where all that reporting went. We used to get regular reporting on drone strikes, and I think that I'm pretty sure that there's been some kind of regulations written where they don't have to report. They don't have to do a regular report on drone strikes anymore.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe that's what happened. I haven't heard anything about that. So,
I think.
All right. So
Yeah.
I mean, what's the issue of the day, man? I just
the border, just the border. You know, he wants to. Yeah, I heard about your new job. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. I haven't had a chance to like follow the news at all lately.
Yeah, well, you got the you know, spring loaded knives, and you got the the clips and everything. So, but it's, you know, we're just talking about you know, Trump talking about wanting to close the border. You know, I'm going to close the border. I'm not bluffing. I'm going to close the border. You know, and it's like and I just wanted to point out that, you know, that the border's been wide open since September 11th, and that, you know, we'd have this big terrorist threat, and, you know, that's my concern about the border. It's always been my concern about the border. And it's not so much that I'm concerned about the terrorists coming across as much as the fact that the terrorists aren't coming across, apparently, which means there can't be that big a terrorist threat, in my own opinion. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I hear conflicting information from, like, you know, one side says that, like, they, you know, I hear from like some DHS secretary or some shit where they're like, yeah, we got, you know, 3 ISIS guys yesterday, but then I never see any official reporting on that. So I'm not really, that's not a big concern for me personally. So.
Well, if they did, I mean, that's fantastic. But if, you know, if they, it's, you know, as we get closer to the election, I think we're going to hear more and more of this stuff. It's going to be, you know, Donald Trump trying to show what a strong leader is. I'm just as big and strong as Netanyahu, you know, and I, you know, I don't think that's what we need. We don't need bravado. You know, we need intelligence, and we need someone who's actually speaking to the people, not in such an angry, hate-filled way, because it just seems like he just spews venom. You know, it's not anything about uniting the people and making a 21st century for the children or whatever. I don't know. I'd really like to see. I'd really like to see Tulsi Gabbard win the election. That's what I'd like to see. But that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, you know what? I've looked at all of the Dem candidates, and I like her the most. My only problem is that every single one supports like the assault weapon ban and magazine ban stuff. But I mean, she's actually the one that could be convinced away from that position, because she served in the military.
Yeah.
So she actually understands weapons and you know, kind of that rugged spirit. She kind of gets that, I think. And I really like her.
I think that she's honestly the only one who can debate Donald Trump. Everyone else he's going to make look small, but it would be very difficult for him to make an active, you know, major in the Army Reserves look small, I believe, you know. Like she's been there. She knows what it is. She's not, oh my God, I got to go up against Donald Trump. She's like, whatever, dude. I volunteered to go to the Iraq War at height of combat. I can deal with fucking Donald Trump, you know.
So I mean, who do you think is going to get the nomination though? Ultimately,
Kamala Harris.
Really? Okay.
Well,
I would have thought either Joe Biden or Bernie.
If the Democrats work the same way that they worked last time, which was to force a candidate down our throat, regardless of what the voters were saying, they're going to vote. Kamala Harris is going to be the person that they choose. It's already obvious. I mean, you know, like 6 weeks ago, her father came out and said that she's completely phony and that her grandparents are currently rolling over in their grave because she's so fucking phony. Her father said this, and none of the mainstream liberal media said a word about it. Only Fox News, and they still haven't said a word about it 6 weeks later. And it's the kind of thing where when your dad comes out for a presidential candidate and says this person's full of shit, and the media doesn't say anything, it's like, you know, Hillary Clinton fucking fainting, and it's like, oh, it's no big deal at all, you know? Yeah, she can't even, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's like bragging about smoking pot, when she's in college, and then she locked, numerous people up for that shit.
Yeah, no, she's completely fucking phony, and that's exactly what the Democrats like, and she laughs after every fucking sentence, just like Hillary Clinton does, and it's the it's the Me Too. They got to tap into the Me Too. They can't lose that, and she's just the perfect model. Let's say, she's going to attract the most people that they're looking for at this moment. I think the widest audience, I should say. Out of the other than Tulsi Gabbard, who is again the only person I believe that can actually stand on the debate stage shoulder to shoulder with Donald Trump. I like Cory Booker. I think he's an interesting guy.
Okay. One last thing, and I'll get off here so somebody else can get on. What do you think about the Jussie Smollett? There's 19 charges that were brought up by a grand jury actually being dropped at the last second out of nowhere. Yeah.
Well, it just shows that there's the elite have a different justice system than the average man, and we all know that that's the way it works. I mean, nobody can get away with faking a hate crime. I think the guy is still in a lot of trouble, but they're doing their best to sweep it away. That's for sure.
Okay. Yeah. What I heard was that Michelle Obama was texting or emailing the district attorney's office that what was her name, Kim Fox lady?
Yeah, Kim Fox.
And she was lobbying for leniency for the guy. And then Jussie is also somehow connected to the district attorney as well. In some way. She initially was going to recuse herself, and then she didn't, and then they just dropped all the charges out of nowhere, and that was really unexpected. But I've heard the FBI might go in and do some kind of like federal mail fraud charges against him or something.
Yeah, I think that there's going to be some federal charges, most likely. The police are very upset, apparently. I mean, the police union had a big protest yesterday and stuff. I think, I don't think he's going to just walk away from this. I think there's still more hammers to fall on him. But again, it just shows that this, anyone that's connected to the elites can get away with just about anything, So
yeah, I mean it's a it was. I thought hell was freezing over when I saw Rahm Emanuel and the chief of police in Chicago sitting up there and just totally chewing Jussie out. I thought that was interesting.
I would really most of the time I would be cheering on somebody getting away from the police, like OJ or whatever. You know what I mean? It's like haha, the cops fucking lost one. But this guy, he just everything from the second I heard about this thing, it just none of it sounded right. He lied and lied and lied, and then it's just oh, it's okay, it's like Hillary lying to the FBI. Oh, it's okay, it doesn't matter. I can't stand the elites not being held accountable. I can't stand George Bush killing 1 million people and not having to pay a price. So
yeah, I mean, it's just that it's not so much him getting away with it, which I kind of figured he might. It's the fact that the media they just latched onto this thing so quickly because they got to get the clicks, they got to get the viewership up, they got to piss people off. So of course, this is like. A super juicy story of a hate crime that happened to this famous black guy in suburb. At 2 a.m. when it was like -20 degrees outside. anyways, that was, that's the part that disturbed me the most, is that the media they'll just take anything they can and just, they'll run it and run it and run it and just, milk it for everything it's got.
There's a good reason why the people are angry at the news media, and I just wish that they could see it as all the news media, not just not just the left news media or the right news media, because it seems like either people are mad at the left or the right. They're not mad at all of it, and it's all of it that's in on it, that's mind fucking us. It's both the left and the right that have told us for generations that marijuana has no medicinal values. There's lots of information to prove that wrong, and yet reefer madness story after reefer madness story after reefer madness story, and it didn't matter if you were a left news organization or a right news organization. And you know why? Because they both get the same fucking big pharma money, every penny of it they can.
Oh, geez. Yeah,
right?
Yeah, totally true, man.
Yeah.
Totally true. All right, well, I'll let you go, man. I'll email you one of these days.
Well, let's go to the dog park real soon, or hang out and have some food or something. That would be awesome.
All right, I'll shoot you an email here in a minute.
Okay, and tell your girl I said hi.
All right, we'll do.
And kiss your dog for me.
All right.
All right.
Right on the list.
All right, see you later. Thanks for calling, Blake.
Bye.
And Blake is a longtime fan. He moved to Seattle from Austin, and then he invited me over to his house for Thanksgiving dinner. Hello, caller. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Michael. How are you?
I am good, thank you. Who is this?
This is Matt from Kansas.
Hey, Matt. Nice to hear from you, bro.
Bro, I waited very patiently to give you a call.
I noticed.
Even though there was like a lot of things that I was like, okay, I'm going to call in. I want to say something about that and whatnot. And then,
well, at least it's interesting listening, man. Go ahead.
I really just want to say to the listeners out there that, I really think that Michael is a motherfucking unbiased motherfucker. And which I probably would come across as a biased motherfucker. And, I don't want to be biased. I want to be unbiased. Just forget what I'm even talking about. Michael, freaking, how are you doing, man?
I'm good. I am, other than not having two nickels to rub together, I am good. I went for a nice walk with the dogs today, and it's beautiful outside, and I'm going to start a garden this week. I'm good.
That sounds freaking awesome. I should do the same thing. You should get out there and dig up some dirt.
That's partially what starting a garden for me is going to be about, is encouraging everyone to go and start a garden, because we have this newfound freedom with the marijuana legalization. They probably don't have it in Kansas, right?
Michael, I still smoke Reggie. Do you know what that even is?
Reggie?
Regular marijuana from Mexico.
Really?
Brick packed Mexican weed.
The stuff that's all compacted and flat. All the buds are flat.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I think that fucking Mexico has stepped it up a little bit. And I'll be the one to tell you that I have not given in to my addiction, which is just my personal opinion, that I feel like I do have an addiction to marijuana.
Okay.
And I don't, that probably sounds lame or something, but you know what? Like, I just feel like sometimes I can't live without it, Like, I'm stressed in here. I've got a lot of anxiety and things like that.
Marijuana is great medicine for anxiety. Marijuana is great medicine
but when you,
for so many things.
But when you live in Kansas,
yes.
When you live in Kansas and you have to go to the ghetto to get it, and then when you're driving with it and you have to go meet somebody in like a parking lot,
yes,
to pick up your $25 quarter of brick packed weed, and then convince myself that I'm getting a good deal. I'm getting 7 grams for $25, which I used to get it for like $15. It's like skyrocketed the price.
Huh.
And yeah, it's really, but then they stepped it up a little bit. And I don't smoke as much as I used to. And I just put a little bit in there. And I don't even actually own a pipe anymore. I just roll a little joint and I just smoke a couple puffs, put it out. And I just,
it's a beautiful thing.
I know. I can get like super angry about something, like some stupid shit that's on the news or something.
Everybody.
I just want to say, the last caller, that freaking guy is very lucky to take up so much time.
He's a nice guy.
I wanted to call in. Is that I feel like that was your buddy?
He's a good friend.
Seattle?
I'm in Seattle. Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought actually. And I don't know what I've been there once. I've been there one time. I went in, drove in there. We freaking I was working. We dropped off a package for corporation or some shit. And then it was just like a nonstop. I mean, it was just 2 hours on, 2 hours off. I drove 15 hours straight. And then it was 2 hours on, 2 hours off the whole way, the rest of the way there and then back. And then I seen the needle, the
space needle,
that giant building.
Yeah.
Yeah. I seen that in the distance, like we were on the highway. And then I just seen it briefly for like a second and then we were out of there. But I mean, I've been there and that was cool.
It's a nice place. So, I recommend it to anyone, honestly. I think it has the best weather in the world.
I would say about Kansas.
Yeah?
Even though that weed's not legal here in Kansas, I think it's the best place in the world to live at.
Right on.
I love Kansas.
That's really great that you feel that way about the place you live.
That's where I was born, and I just love this place. It's a good place. I don't know what I would do. I've been in traveling jobs where I worked in, in these different states and whatnot. And even and I don't know if it's because weed's illegal or whatnot, I would just go to try to strike up a conversation, be like, hey man, you got some pot? Nobody uses that word anymore, pot. That's not cool or anything like that. But then they start getting sketchy, like, oh my God, the police. So like, I'm just saying, like, you go buy your.
Well, I had somebody from Ohio the other day say that he drives to Colorado on a regular basis to go and pick up. So maybe you should just drive over to Colorado and pick up some weed, and then you don't have to deal with that Mexican stuff.
And well, do you hear me out on this? Okay, so I literally about 2.5 months ago was just in Colorado, and I went to a dispensary for the very first time in my life.
Isn't that cool?
Okay? And so I walk in there. Huh?
Isn't that cool? It's like the candy store. It's like the candy store for adults.
I thought it was cool a little bit, kind of. And I just think, in a sense, I'm kind of split on this deal. I don't know, because I've been smoking weed ever since I was 12 years old.
Yeah,
I'm 34 right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm kind of split on it, on the whole idea of actually having a store. I think that we should just be able to have it decriminalized, and we should be able to, like, barter with it in a sense in some way.
Yeah, well, that's
not like it's just
that's what I was saying.
Corporate, like
no, that's what I was saying earlier. When I see people being able to sell it at the farmers market, then marijuana to me will be legal. People can grow it at home and then go to the farmers market in their local community and sell it. I would want to go to the farmers market twice a week.
You know, I actually think that like potheads should be smarter than what potheads are portrayed as. And, you know, if you did have a farmer's market, it's just like you got a little green leaf up in the corner, and it's just like green leaf friendly.
Yeah, man.
And then like if you're there with your kids, it's just like, yo, I got $20, and then all of a sudden you got like 2 ounces in your hand. You know, like
yeah,
I think that is plausible.
That's when it
so I think
that's when it will be legal to me. It's like you're saying, just decriminalize it, just take all the laws off of it.
Yeah, man, because
free market capitalism, baby.
You know what? Like, so I'm in Kansas, and so when I get the pot and I start driving down the fucking road, like I start getting seriously paranoid and anxiety. And then even when I get home and start smoking it, I get even more paranoid. And that's not what it's supposed to do.
Well, you smoke it all the time, or? Because if you don't smoke it regularly, the first couple puffs can be a little bit nerve-wracking. But
I haven't smoked for almost 5 days.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's probably like that's like crazy talk. Like, oh, you've only not smoked for 5 days?
No, I can't go 5 days. I'm in too much pain if I go 5 days. I can go 2 to 3 days without eating marijuana. But then I smoke more. But then I'm smoking more when I'm not eating it. So but if I go more than 2 or 3 days, then I have a headache that doesn't go away, and I'm not able to be myself at all. So
okay, so like you know, and I guess this probably could happen to me where, I don't know, I seen a movie one time where like, it was like Mel Gibson alien movie or something like that. The dude is like a good father and whatnot, and he puts his kids to bed, and then all of a sudden he goes in there and flicks on the light switch, and he's like, we gotta go right now. Some shit's hitting the fan. Okay, so one day I fucking had this job, and I'm waiting to go make this delivery, and I did it on my off time on a Saturday because I was driving so many hours per night that I waited till Saturday, got up, drove all the way where I was supposed to go, like 2 hours away, dropped off the delivery, went right outside of town, and parked on the side of the road. And I'm not even kidding you, dude. I had some of the best Reggie ever. And I'm not kidding you. And all of a sudden, I mean, I'm looking in my rearview mirror and everything, and I'm just trying to roll a little quick joint, just to puff on, a couple puffs on the way home. Because it's a 2-hour drive, you know, and I don't care what anybody fucking has to say. It makes the drive so much more relaxing. Put the goddamn music on, and you're in the country, in the flatlands here in Kansas. It's just amazing. I mean, I love my state.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
I don't hate police officers or anything like that. But I tell you what, I fucking am sitting there putting it in the joint, in the paper, and I'm getting ready to roll it. And all of a sudden, I'm not even there 60 seconds. And I literally get a knock at the window. And there is the police officer. I look at him. And then I look at the joint in my hand. And then I look back at him. And he just freaked the fuck out. And he was like, get the fuck out of the car. Get the fuck out of the car. And I'm like, all right, dude, just chill, man. Okay, fine, here, yes. And I mean, the cop was about ready to have a fucking heart attack.
That sounds right.
Took me to jail, did not even read me my rights. And since he chilled out, put me in the front seat, talked to me a little bit about it, whatnot. I was like, yeah, I understand, blah, blah, blah. Then he made me sign a little paper, like basically saying that he did read me my rights. Well, if we understood our rights, we would know that that is unacceptable. I mean, you can't do that. You can't just, and I don't know if you can't do that, but I'm pretty sure that's actually the deal. Is if you're supposed to, he just slapped me in cuffs and threw me in the cop car, basically. And then I was just like, yeah, man, it's okay. So then I had that. This happened about 10 years ago. So ever since then, I've been paranoid as fuck about it.
Well, that's understandable, dude.
I don't even know if I'm developing some kind of mental illness because of that, because it's illegal. And then when I go buy it,
that's the most dangerous thing about it. The most dangerous thing about marijuana is that it's illegal.
It's basically so expensive. So then it's like, why are you spending all your money on dope and stuff like that? And then so you get in your fucking car.
Once it gets legal, it's not that expensive. Thanks a bunch for calling. It's nice to hear from you. Okay, so as I was saying, the border's wide open. It's been wide open since 2001. Apparently, according to Donald Trump, every single day, the worst criminals on the planet walk across the border every single day. And but where are the terrorists? We've been hearing since 2001, terrorists. The terrorists are coming to get you, coming to get your children. But the children walk across the border undetected every single day for the last 20 years after the greatest terrorist event in the history of the United States. And nothing's been done about the border. So basically the reason I was trying to talk about the border is because it's to prove the fact that the terrorist threat is not what they say it is. I mean, the Pentagon and the people in charge, the commander-in-chiefs, have done their best to create an enemy, a terrorist threat. They've done everything in their power, bombing wedding parties, you know, arming ISIS, arming the Taliban. It's you know, they've done everything in their power, you know, knocking out Libya, taking out Gaddafi so that Libya could become a terrorist haven where women and children are sold into slavery today in Libya, on the streets in Libya. Women and children sold into slavery today in 2019, thanks to Barack Hussein Obama. So, you know, anyways, if anybody else wants to call, I'm going to give you like 10 seconds. Oh, look, we have a caller. Hello, caller. How are you today?
Hey, Boxer, how are you?
I am good.
I'm in a little late here. This is Joe Poe calling from Tucson, and you are spot on. There is, like, I can't tell you, there is nothing happening down here in terms of immigration either. It's just a bunch of crap.
Really?
Yeah, it's fake, man. I used to see people coming in here. I live on, you know, we're 50 miles from the border. I used to have a place that was right on the border. Now, back in the day, you know, 2002, there was a lot of immigration happening. But nowadays, nah, man, it's all fake news, man. And everybody is an MS-13. Our town would have been run over by MS-13 if that was indeed the case. It's not. It's fake news.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't argue with you about that at all. it's why do you think? See, from what you're saying,
You nailed it.
from what you're
I
saying,
think you nailed it.
I keep wondering. You know, they keep telling us that there's just this overwhelming, you know, invasion coming up on the southern border, and I keep thinking.
Nah.
I keep thinking, all these people here is we hate you and we don't want you here, and we're going to do everything in our power to send you back. Why would they make that journey? And you know, I mean, how could it possibly be that there's more people than ever after hearing statements like that? You know?
Yeah, it's propped up though. But I think you said it before, and it's really about an industrial complex. You know, you got the prison, you got the immigration jails. You've got hell, you know, just all sorts of industry benefits from you know, cheap labor as well when they can get it. But you know, with the crackdowns, you've seen the opposite is actually happening. You're seeing a reverse of a lot of Mexican people going home, and I don't think this economy is all cracked up to what everybody's talking about either.
Yeah, I know.
I think there's just a lot of fake numbers going on. I think it's fake news, fake numbers, fake emergencies.
Yeah.
You're spot on when it comes to Libya and you know, Barack Obama and the Clintons and her fingerprints all over the Middle East. You know. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's so out of control, out of hand, and
yeah. So this is why I believe that what we should do, the best thing that we could do for our country politically, is to banish both the Democrats and the Republican Party from ever taking part in politics in this country ever again. Just say you're not welcome anymore, and start over with new parties. You know, like 10 of them.
Wouldn't it be nice though if we could just, I don't know how you would just introduce and just do like gigantic countrywide referendum votes, you know? And you know.
That would be awesome. I agree.
Yeah, it's but it's so controlled now, you know, it's centrally planned, and
the fake news too. The people are afraid and angry and kind of locked and overworked and you know, it's just
overworked and underpaid.
Overworked, underpaid, and the fear and the anger, and it's like I feel like most of them don't even know why they're so angry. You know what I mean? And it's because they're getting lied to by everybody who's in a position of authority. The people we're supposed to look up to, the people we're supposed to turn to when in times of need, the people who we're supposed to trust above all others. And the police, the media, the politicians, the doctors, they're all fucking lying to us. And then they don't get why they're so angry. They're so angry because everything is bullshit that we're supposed to trust in. Go ahead.
Yeah, the institutions have undermined themselves, you know, and it's kind of like you know, I don't know what a reset looks like, but people are looking for something else, and you know that I can't point to one thing and just go, yeah, that's solid. You know, I don't know what. It's not the military. It's not the war efforts. It's not the.
No, I'm telling you, what has to happen is you have to make it all public financing for elections.
Yes.
And you have to banish the Republicans and the Democrats. No more Republicans. No more Democrats, because they're the ones who worked hand in hand, bringing us to where we're at now. It's not the Republicans that did it. It's not the Democrats. It's them working together to bring us to where we're at. And we have to. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No,
I was just going to say you're right. They both got 16% approval.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. So, you know, this whole, you know, it's just a mirage, and it's more of a nightmare because they both just suck so bad.
It's so bad.
People,
go ahead.
Yeah, and that's tuned out. People are tuning out from it, and you know, the independents, they're always like, you know, they're kind of misidentified in many ways because they think both parties totally suck.
Yeah.
And when they say, yeah, but they're like, you know, probably lean Republican. No, they hate Republicans and they hate Democrats.
Yeah.
Because of what you just laid out. You know, I believe that is the, you know, the dominant message in the libertarian movement is, yeah, you know, that they suck. And then even the Green Party, you know, as non-existent as they are, but I think you've seen that kind of roll into the Bernie Sanders crowd. That's been the kind of the green movement there. But,
yeah. And they're trying to incorporate that now with the Green New Deal and all of that. But yeah, that's what I keep. It's just we have to come to the realization that the Democrats and the Republicans are responsible for every fuck up that we're currently experiencing, not one side or the other, and that the only way to, and it's because they're entirely owned by corporate money and billionaires. And if we just, you know, if we just come to that realization and outlaw banish them, just say no more Republicans, no more Democrats, they're not acceptable. You know, we're not having those parties in our political system anymore. Just like with the Greens and the Independents and the Libertarians, they're not really allowed in the political system at all, entirely because of the Democrats and Republicans, because they say no, those aren't real parties, they're not welcome here, you know.
Yeah, they're systematically banned.
Yeah,
you kind of look at, you know, and you kind of look at the Democrats, you know, like or hate AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She is actually challenging a lot of the power structures. She told them, the DCCC said, hey, if you're working with people who are looking to primary people, they do not, there is a direct ban on that, and they will cut all, you know, services to you. And the DCCC is a very powerful arm of the Democratic Party. And so they literally are smashing, you know, the very things that's going to challenge the status quo and challenge just do nothing politicians that are just so busy, you know, prostituting out to all the corporate interests. So, but you know, that's going to backfire on them too, because, you know, this whole new, people are so sick and tired, and, you know, just like with what you've been saying, I believe that it's a lot more prevalent out there than is being probably, you know, reported on. You agree?
Yeah, they don't. In fact, they don't report on it. They don't report that people are just sick and tired of both the Republicans and the Democrats. They act like, oh, you know, that the fucking 20% that still identify as Republicans and Democrats are actually like the only people that exist. You know?
Yeah. You know, I'm in a weird spot to just share this with you. You know, I think we're somewhere around the same age, because I was laughing at your switchblade comb era, and that kind of like pegged us around the same age. But you know, I always make the joke that I've been a Democrat since I had a mullet, and but there's, you know, a joke in addition to that is my mullet probably went 3 years too long until my wife just made me cut it. And saying, you know, Joe, you look ridiculous. You know, cut that hair, for God's sakes. But nonetheless, I've been a Democrat that long. But
what do you have, a cop haircut now?
Yeah, only because male pattern baldness makes that happen. But no, I got to do the comb back. So I'm not. You know,
as long as you got something to comb. The cops don't have anything to comb, so can't be a cop haircut if you're combing it.
Well, but you know, back to my point is, I was saying that I've been a Democrat so long, but I really enjoy the status of like telling them how horribly sick of them that I am, and that I've been a Democrat since the late '80s. You know, when I politically started getting. But I can't tell you what a failure. Yeah, you know what? The Democratic Party up until 2016. I'll share this with you and all your listeners. They were in the worst losing streak in 100 years. Okay, so there's a lot of people that have been hating on the Democrats.
Yeah,
and you can't build a losing streak like that. Under Barack Obama, he had no coattails whatsoever. He lost 1,000 democratically held seats. And, you know, it's a lot of people say, well, it's what he did healthcare and he did the European socialism. No, he socialized the health insurance companies. And, you know, and everybody else got the shaft.
Right.
And,
He socialized. That's exactly right. He socialized the health insurance companies. He did nothing for the American people.
He privatized it for you to the tune of, you know, hope you can handle the monthly premium that's unaffordable.
That you now are required by law to pay. No, not now, but I mean, under Obama, you're now required to pay it. Yeah.
You bet. Fines were levied by the IRS. So, but Trump did do away with that. But, you know, this is the whole thing. Is Fox News for 10 years told you that was European socialism. And it was so mangled and just
again
thought out.
Again, it's not the Fox and it's not the left news and it's not the right news, because when the Occupy movement, you know, under the proud American tradition, went into the streets to demand, under Barack Obama, to demand the change that they were promised. Right. You know, both the left and the right media attacked them as drug users and fornicators and defecators in the street, and they were just the scum of the scum. And they were like the kind of people the founding fathers would be proud of, you know, stepping up. They didn't just go out and protest. They went into the streets and they stayed there for months and months and months under Obama. And then the fucking dirty scum on the fucking Fox News wants to talk about what pieces of shit they are, you know, bring on their fucking copsucker cops, you know, and talk about how they're, you know, just low life people. And the thing is those people, you know, they're speaking out against Obama, right? I mean, they were there protesting to Occupy, were there under Obama, and all these people just listened to Fox News. All these people who hated Obama just listened to Fox News and went, "Oh, these people are horrible," you know, and listened to the left media too. The left media came around and it was like, "Oh, look, Michael Moore's down there at the Occupy. Maybe this is important," you know, but because, you know, Michael Moore needed some attention, you know, but
yeah, you know what, you know, back to my point though on, you know, with the healthcare, and I'm sorry to drive this home, but, you know, Fox News was just really pushing that misidentifying language, and it's not European socialism. It was corporatism, and it's
absolutely,
like, it's a you know, a state mandated payout to you know, basically 6 health insurance run 50 states of, you know, premiums. And, you know, there's not a lot of competition going on. In fact, that's not capitalism. That's just state sanctioned profits. And
that was after,
there's just something else going on. But now let me tell you this, and that's why, you know, there's polls out there that the highest one I saw was 52% of Republicans are going for Medicare for all, because they got misdirected when they were told that this is European socialism, and it was, you know, really Obamacare is just it's regurgitated Heritage Foundation. You know, they were thinking up that crap in 1972 with Richard Nixon.
Obamacare is just a giant.
Mitt Romney's the one that instituted it.
Obamacare is just a giant giveaway to the insurance companies, and that was after he promised us to fight for single payer health care and spent absolutely zero time fighting for single payer health care.
That's a fact. You know, that's a big fact. And the other side of that is they pushed Obama as such a socialist, and like, oh my God.
And the biggest liberal president of all time.
You bet. And nothing, you know, that's where the damage of always labeling somebody and always, you know, projecting, you know, this onto something. But, you know, at John McCain's funeral, Barack Obama said, you know, that he was one of his favorite guys, and that, you know, he governed like a moderate Republican.
He's a fucking neocon through and through. He's a neocon through and through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Man. And yeah, you know, and a lot of people, they don't get that. They think, oh my God, he's just like the biggest liberal, homo loving kind of, you know. No, actually, he didn't even support gay, gay agenda until 2011.
Yeah.
And then Hillary Clinton came around in 2013. So this, you know, gay acceptance to the Democratic Party, or at least by the neocon or the neoliberal, like, you know, the corporate Dems.
Yeah.
They just, you know, did a financial, you know, rundown tallying of it and just said, yeah, you know, it makes financial sense. Now I support the gay community.
Well, I think it's more than that. I think politically you no longer could survive if you don't support the gay community is what happened.
Well, I'd say that, you know, because there was a lot of, you know, discrimination lawsuits that are moving forward.
Yeah, well, it's,
you know, it's almost, part of the Me Too movement is wrapped up in that. It's, you know, Joe Biden thinks he can smell girls' hairs, you know.
Well, you know, not in the position that he's in for sure. I mean, you know, I mean, look, you can be a touchy-feely guy. If a woman says, don't touch me, then don't touch her, you know. I mean, but and that's all there is to it. Because that's the fact. You can be a touchy-feely guy. You can hug people, and you can be whatever. But you know, if somebody says no, then no means no, and you're like, okay, move on to the next one. You know what I mean? It's not there's a million fishes in the sea to hug. So
yeah, you know what, and that's so true. But at the end, you know, at the end of the day, it's the corporate media that really wants Joe Biden. You know, and that's why they're like really hating on that this stuff surfaced. They're really hating on it because he is their corporate tool.
Yeah, he's, you know, I don't see him as I honestly, when I listened to him talk recently, he doesn't seem like he's quite all there, you know? So I don't think that he doesn't, and he certainly doesn't seem like he's truly in touch with where the people are at. And I think that, this is another person. I don't think he can stand on the stage with Donald Trump without getting crushed. I don't care what kind of experience he has. You know, Donald Trump is something different. You know, and you're gonna have to put up there somebody who really, really isn't like the other people. And you know what? When they say Tulsi Gabbard's not a real Democrat. And they're going to say, you're going to hear this again and again.
Yes, she is.
No, she's not. They're absolutely right. She is not a real Democrat, and they're right. And that should be a really good thing that she's not a real Democrat. Go ahead.
Okay. Now what I'll clarify my statement is if you go to the DNC's website and you look at their platform, like, you know, you'll see non-intervention. You'll see single payer on there. Yeah. You'll see, you know, investing in schools and this, but, you know, not running, you know, just non-interventionism is like the biggest thing that she brings to the table. And imagine if you could recommit those military dollars.
Oh my God,
dude. Military bases. You know, that's literally where this country's wealth. And you know what? For everybody who says, oh, my God, what a liberal freak. You know, I can't believe Joe is saying this stuff. But you know what? If Brown University just said that we spent $6 trillion over there. And some people say, well, it's more than that. Well, whatever it is. But let's just go with $6 trillion.
Yeah.
You know, you divide that by 50 states. That is wealth, my friend. That is freaky money.
That's a good start. That's a good start on a 21st century infrastructure right there.
Absolutely. That's where the new, you know, especially at a time when, you know, the trucking, thank God for Andrew Yang, you know, him bringing a new discussion and Tulsi Gabbard, you know, Andrew Yang is talking about that trucker, you know, situation. And I'm telling you what, I really respect that new conversation because, man, if you're going to wait for Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer to talk about it from the Democratic side of things, it ain't going to happen. Man. Yeah. You know, no, Bernie, she doesn't want anything new. She made $100 million underneath Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's because she's so financially savvy? I don't.
No.
I think she's a status quo freak. You know, that's really settled into her perch. And Chuck Schumer, I mean, that's your representative from Wall Street.
Yeah, they're evil corporatist, bought off, paid for shills. You know, I mean, they're not there to represent anyone except for themselves.
Absolutely, man. But this is, you know what? This is why it's interesting times that we live in, because this, and I think you nailed it too when you brought up the Occupy movement as an example, because that's leftover math that has not been dealt with or even come close. And then you look at what 2010, when that movement was happening, that was right after the crash. A lot of old people, like in our age bracket, went back to school because they got canned.
Yeah.
I had a really good construction job back then. I got canned. We lost our stuff real quick down here. And but I'll tell you what, it's, they went back to school and they racked up a lot of school debt. And that's how you see this country is, that's how you add up $1.5 trillion worth of a debt. And you got $1 trillion in credit card debt. You got $1 trillion in car loans. You've got assets. The highest real estate prices have just been chalked up in the history of mankind, right? In this country.
Huh.
So, yeah, it's we've got all these really bad, booming, unbeatable debt drivers, and it's going to take serious politics. And people who are flaming out over border talk and all this shit. That doesn't matter, man. That's just it's the big military projects and the big, kind of upheaval we caused just to hold gas prices somewhere around, we're fighting to keep them at around 240 here in Tucson. I just paid 250 actually today. So, but the fracking, with all the fracking we're doing, it has to be much more expensive for them to do it. And those numbers suck too. All the energy stocks are trading at junk status right now.
Huh.
There's 60 some energy companies that trade on Wall Street, and they're all trading at junk status.
You mean like you're not talking about like Chevron and Exxon and stuff like that?
Well, if they have a fracking division and they have an investment vehicle in that, it's trading at junk status.
Okay.
It's not AAA, it's not B, it's C and below is junk.
Yeah. Okay. I hear
high
what you're
risk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
fracking needs to be outlawed because it's just too dangerous to it's just too dangerous.
It's financially stupid.
Yeah.
It's financially stupid. It takes 7 to 8 million gallons of water per one fracked well.
Right. Yeah. See, it's just that's not acceptable. That's and all that water, it gets contaminated and then goes back into our water systems too. They're not they're not pumping that water back out to somewhere foreign place or something.
No.
Yeah.
No. And they pull it, but they do keep a lot of that just stays in the ground. I mean, that's why you can't. But there's some that blows back out from the process. And, they're actually finding ways that they can get it back in. They got caught pumping them back into an aquifer up by Bakersfield, and it's an aquifer that feeds LA drinking.
Yeah, that's water, just insane, dude. There's like radiation, all kinds of shit in that water after they do that.
Absolutely, yeah, it's much worse, but that's why they disguise it as a trade secret, an industry trade secret. Yeah, that just you don't have to disclose.
Not acceptable. That's just not acceptable.
Yeah. Well, hey, buddy, you know what? You've been going for a long time. I just tuned in a little late here. Wanted to give you a shout out.
Hey, Joe, it's really good to hear from you, bro. I'm glad you called.
Hey, right back at you, man, and keep rocking, Mox. And we'll talk to you later.
All right. I hope we hear. Okay, I hope we hear.
Shout out to all the crowd out there too. Okay.
Okay. Thanks a bunch, Joe.
All right, later.
All right. I gotta go. So I gotta go. Okay, one more call, and then I gotta go.
One to take this call.
I'm pressing 1. Hello, caller. How are you today?
Good. How about you, partner?
I'm okay. What's going on? Who is this?
This is Connor Heckerman.
Hey, Connor. Nice to hear from you. Where you calling from?
Nice to hear from you. From Austin, Texas.
Austin. My friend Blake called earlier. He just moved to Seattle from Austin. I hear good things about Austin.
Oh yeah, very nice place, very perfect.
Right on. Did you do the South by Southwest political gig?
Yes, sir.
You attended it? Right on. You see anything interesting?
Yes, sir. No, sir. I live toward the border. Like, no, I go travel there a lot, right?
Okay.
And I see all these Mexicans protesting outside, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm thinking, like, one of these days, should we just go there, like, with our guns, mowing them down?
Probably not.
Why?
Well, there's a lot of cops around, wouldn't work out well for that. So anyway, thanks for calling. All right. So anyways, it's nice to hear from you guys. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page, Mox News. And I work really hard to try and give you something of value on this page. There's always something new. I hope that you take a good look. There's 9,200 videos on this one Mox News page, 9,200 plus videos. So if you're new to Mox News, be sure to subscribe and be sure to take a good look through the video pages because there's a lot to see and it's worthy of your time. It's all hand selected by me to be worthy of your time. So thanks for tuning in. My name's Mike. This is my YouTube page. Wednesdays, this war is going to end. Stay cool until that day.